Hello and welcome, it's Deborah from Attic Lane, and today I want to show you how to make snowflake shaker ornaments. These could be hung on your Christmas tree, they could be hung in a window, or you could even use them in a gift card. I'm starting out by painting a sheet of white card in two different Imagination Crafts Starlight paints. The first one is Pink Sunset and the second one is Mediterranean Sky, and I will provide links to both of these paints underneath the video. I'm going to set them aside to dry, and then I'm going to pick up my next two paints, which are Diamond and Antique Gold, and these again are from the Starlight's metallic paint range, and I'm going to cover half of my page in gold and half of my page in silver. I'm going to set both of these aside to dry properly now while I move on to the next stage. I'm using two dies from my Cottage Cut Stitch Circle dies to cut out a border which I've held in place using repositionable tape. I'm going to cut out a second round border, and I'm going to use repositionable tape to hold my dies in place while I run them through the machine. For each of these snowflake ornaments we need a pair of these round frames. I've cut a pair of blue frames, and I'm now showing you that there is a smaller die from my circular die set which will sit inside of the blue frame, and I've used that to cut out pieces of acetate which you can see just above the frame that I'm gluing now. So I'm gluing the inside of both of the blue frames, and I'm going to apply one of my little circles of acetate that fits just within it, and I'm going to glue that into position, and I'll do that for both of these blue frames, and I'll do the same for all the other three pairs of frames that I have beside me. I've got white craft foam, and I've cut very thin strips that are narrow enough to fit within the frame, and I'm going to use a high-tack instant grab glue because I want something that will grab this foam. If I used a wet glue I would have to hold the foam in place, and it's going to be bent around these frames, so that can be a bit tricky. You're better off with a tape runner so that these little pieces will stick immediately, and I'm going to go around the curve sticking my foam in place as I go. I only need to do this on one of the pairs because in effect those frames are going to form a sandwich with our decoration in the centre, and I need the foam tape to give me a little bit of dimension. That's how they'll fit together. I'm going back to my painted pieces of card now, and I'm cutting out some snowflakes. I happen to be using my favourite things, layered snowflakes, because I just happen to have those, but you can use any snowflakes you have, and you can use them singly, or you can do what I'm doing here, which is cutting out two of each shape and sticking them together, and then I'm going to layer more snowflakes on top of the first snowflake. But each time I do this, I'm adding the same snowflake on the reverse, so that no matter which way you turn the final snowflake, it shows the same. I'm using a real mix of adhesives. Where there's enough space on my design, I'm using my larger glue applicator. Where it's very narrow and fine and I want to glue two fine pieces together, I'm using my Quickie glue pen. This means that there won't be a whole load of glue oozing out of the design and into the finished project. My snowflake is finished, it's glued and it's dried, and now I'm taking the two halves of this particular ornament and I'm using the side that has the foam on it as the receptacle for my sequins and some chunky glitter from Lawn Fawn. I'm using a piece of silver wire as a hanger, and I'm going to add this to the top of the foam tape before I glue all the elements together. I'm using my high-tack quick grab tape runner again to make sure that the wire is caught immediately and held in place. I've moved my sequins and glitter to the outside of the ornament so that I've got space to glue and stick my snowflake. I'm using my Quickie glue pen because a tiny little spot of glue in the centre is all that needs, and we will be able to cover that over when the ornament is complete with a little dab of Nuvo drops or whatever you may have to hand. I'm adding a little dot of Quickie glue to the centre of my snowflake that's facing upwards, and I'm going to take my wet glue and run it around the foam tape so that it's ready for me to secure the second frame on top. And when the frame is fixed and is in place, you can squeeze down on the centre of the snowflake, and that will make sure that the snowflake stays glued. And you can weight it down with a stamp block if you like. And shaky shake, it works. It's a beautiful little shaker. I've made 3 of these with shaker elements in them, and I've made one in the lighter blue without any elements, just so you can see the difference. And I think that blue and gold works beautifully together. Now I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. I'm going to leave you with a little music and some close-ups of the ornaments that we've made today, and I hope you'll join me again soon.